Gentlemen, it's good to see you all. We're, of course, gathered to talk about The Night Manager, whose final set of episodes goes live on Disney Plus Hotstar on the 30th of June. Um, it's a bit of a sausage fest today because, which is odd because you'll have two terrific actresses, Tilottama Shom and Sobita. But I'm told today I have to just make do with the three of you. So I'm joking, of course. I want to ask you, what were you most surprised about in terms of the reactions when the first lot of episodes dropped in February?
Before I answer that question, I'm going to first say plus apologize for any nervousness. It's my big time. It's a big thing on my bucket list to be interviewed by you.
Thank you. This is
So it's for anyone growing up in 2000s and to say, here I am. So I was just for a moment taking this moment in.
Thank you. I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of everything you've done.
So I think the biggest joy that I felt, actually, first of all, I was extremely tense. The day the show released, I remember by the first few reviews came out and people spoke about why are there only 4 episodes?
Yeah.
What's happening? And I started making demons in my head about how, oh God, I have given 3 years to this and it's all going down. People are not going to like it. I had switched off my phone, drawn the curtains, switched off the lights, and gone off to sleep. And it was actually AK, Adi, and everyone who said, "Are you mad? What are you?" It's love out there. The fact that they want more tells you, the fact that they're angry tells you that they wanted more.
They want more, yeah.
So for me, the most surprising thing is actually more than then is now. The fact that even now the idea of just the 4-episode drop became, we are waiting for more. That anger turned to an anticipation for the rest. I think that has been a beautiful experiment which has worked out so far.
That's interesting, yeah. Anil?
Well, well, of course, because I don't want to sound that, I've seen it all. And
right. But you have.
You have. So I am, for me, everything which I do, I'm, absolutely excited and I think every bit of it was very overwhelming. The whole response was very overwhelming, and especially from the fraternity.
Yeah.
And from filmmakers and actors who will not just, today times are such that they don't really have the time, and because there's so much happening around them also, in terms of everything, for them to pick up the phone and talk to you or send you a message, and besides the people, and I think it was very, very heartening. So it was good to receive, this kind of, and of course, more than anything else, what happens sometimes when individual work is praised of some actors and some, and the show and the film which you've done is not appreciated.
Right.
It's still,
it's a bit incomplete.
Yeah, it's incomplete. Yeah. And I've gone through that. So I really don't, I'm not that happy with that.
You've definitely gone through that because you've been very good in some
films and
not so films,
and so when they said they loved the show and they loved everybody in it, and everybody has done their bit so well. So I think that was, I said, this is the first sign of a hugely successful storytelling.
Yeah.
When you have, when someone tells a story and it connects to everybody.
Right.
And I have a certain, like A tire, B tire, C tire.
Right. In your trade terms, yes.
Not trade term, but in terms of people.
Okay.
So I've been to a certain extent in quite a few years. People will not believe it, but I'm not connected as such with the trade, with what sells and what doesn't sell, what I should do and what I should not do. I have a certain sect of people whom I'm in touch with.
Sure.
And who are some from film, some who are completely off Bollywood films, and certain people who are very much into everything. So everybody, the reaction from everyone was very, very positive.
Right.
There were some times where people are not to certain extent aware, because there's so much happening. So it takes time for people to really get aware. Okay, this show is really. But there are a lot of people who have actually not seen the first 4 episodes and now going to see all the 7 episodes together.
Right.
And there are certain friends and families who said, we are not going to see the 4 episodes. We're going to see all the 7 episodes because they've heard about it, that it's so good. They're waiting for the 3 episodes to drop and they're going to watch all the 7 episodes. So not only nationally, even internationally, whoever's seen, whatever they've seen has been my agents, my friends in USA, in England, they all have really loved what they're seeing. So it's very heartening.
If I can add to that, since I was too nervous, as I said at the start, to answer to you, I think something which AK always said, that one of the key paradigms of success is that the success is for everybody in the team, and gives a lot of joy to see everyone being so proud of the show, the whole team. We have a co-director, Priyanka, and you know, every week she calls me to say, Sandeep, I have 3 new offers, I have 2 new offers.
Lovely.
And I feel so happy to see that. So I think that's one of the key things that AK always says. You know,
and sometimes what happens is you don't get an immediate offer also.
Right.
Keep one thing in mind for everybody, whoever's listening. It's not necessary. People are thinking about you.
Yeah.
People are writing about you. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
So sometimes it doesn't happen overnight.
Correct.
You give the best show, but it's not going to get kal hi 4 log aa jayenge.
Yeah, the next day I didn't get a call.
I'm just
so
saying.
I like this.
Yeah. So,
Well, they're probably now, having watched the show, they're writing stuff,
Right.
having seen it, right?
yeah, absolutely. So,
Right.
and I think that also is very important. So I've not only you, but I've told all actors. आराम से आएगा.
थोड़ा time लगता है.
Time लगता है भैया.
थोड़ा पकने दो.
थोड़ा पकने दो.
Yeah.
So please.
So no,
so,
I'm
let me
really
share-
taking that
let
in
me-
and
let
feeling
me
a little
share
better
that
about
with
it.
all of you.
Yeah, valuable lesson.
Yes, absolutely. कि वो ओवरनाइट नहीं होता है, वो थोड़ा टाइम के बाद आता है. सडनली वो 6 महीने में इतना हो गया, अरे ये क्या हो गया?
Yeah. इतना कुछ आ गया.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was surprised as one way. I think during the shooting of the show, one always got a sense that we're doing something special and something, if we get it right and all the stars line up, and this could really be something that resonates. But one never really knows if that's happened, and we've managed to do it till the world sees it.
Correct.
So we always had this inherent feeling that ये हो सकता है कुछ, you know. And then when finally it did, and it felt like overwhelming from all aspects, it was surprising in one way how it kind of feels like it's cut across audiences, cut across strata, and people all across the board, because people think glamorous shows that have got rich people, only rich people will connect to, but I don't think that that's been the case. I feel like everyone across all strata have seen that they're characters that they can identify with, and it's been made by someone who has a finger on the pulse of, you know, even just simple everyday interactions between people also feel fully like authentic. So I think just the fact that it cut across all kinds of audiences was kind of surprising.
And you know why I got a first instinct that this show is going to be a good show is when Sandeep, you know, the more I met him, like the casting, the DOP, you know, the kind of technical team he was wanting, and then to a certain extent being open to certain, you know, he was not closed. You know, certain filmmakers are very closed. Nahin,
This is what I want.
you know, and
Yeah.
he had the instinct. Nahin, this is done, and he had that instinct. You know, like, you know, I said, just try it out. I'm not forcing you. Just try him out. He's good, and he had the instinct to say, yes, he is on board. Then he had certain DOPs in mind. So for him to think about Ben, you know, that's his call. You know, that's a filmmaker's call. That's a good call. You know, that he's the one who's going to be behind the editor. You know, I said when he said yes, you know, as editor, I said he's terrific, absolutely editor. All these things, these are all directors, filmmakers' call. Dad's calls, casting. When he can, I said this is for him. This is what a cast. So
really
that also I would
Yeah.
give credit. You know, that also said, okay, he's on the right. You know, it's like for Shobita's casting.
Correct.
He had always had Shobita. Then
And
for
it's amazing because she, apart from the sexiness and the raspy voice, she brings that quiet desperation, which is just so wonderful. And Tilottama's just, I mean, to step into a role that was played by no less than Olivia Colman.
No,
I
but
mean,
still,
she's
we had
she's
so
great.
many bigger names.
Wow.
You know, at that time. But, you know, he said, no, we will,
You need the right person.
the right person for it. Remember?
Yeah.
And then we said, we've seen her in Sir, let's lock her. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of
She's
thing, you
just
know?
Yeah.
You know, all these things.
No,
was-
Sandeep on the casting.
Oh,
is
casting
really
was,
good.
you know, even
Yeah.
Shaswasta. Absolutely. Ravi Bahel.
That was
That's
inspired
true, that's
casting.
true.
Ravi-
Akashdeep, I mean, these
Aka-
are,
yeah. I said,
amazing.
ये कहाँ से ले आया तू यार? You know, suddenly, Ravi Bahel, Akash, these are all very, obviously the casting directors there, but
course.
ultimately the final call is the filmmaker, the director's call.
Correct.
So, Sandeep, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Genuinely, I mean it.
Due credit to
Sandeep,
the whole
no,
team.
No,
sir.
no,
A lot of us worked
but
on it.
I know, but still, we all there. You know, your team was there, but ultimately the final call was yours. So,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sandeep.
Sandeep, you got to meet Tom Hiddleston, who plays the night manager in the original British show, and he got on a video chat, he got on a video call with you, Aditya.
Yeah.
And you know how sometimes you have the the original show actors and the original film actors who are sort of generous and gracious, but they are sort of obliged to be. But it didn't feel like that with him. You know, you could sense this sort of genuine excitement and this genuine appreciation for what you have done. Is that fair to say? I mean, was he?
You're right. In fact, I wasn't overwhelmed with Tom while I love his work,
Yeah.
but I think something which always stayed with me is sonar ko bhi sone se, you should never be awed by
Right.
that, right? And for me, I saw him. I think I remember walking the screening and saying, this feels like an ambush, not a screening, right? Because you're gonna judge this with a different lens, which
Correct.
I'm not prepared for. And right at the start, I was sensing that, okay, he's being sweet. Maybe he's always going to say nice things and hand the phone to Adi. But when it clocked 20 minutes, I said, okay, there's something more to that. And then Tom was going to be there for, say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes post that. He was the last guy to leave the party when the lights were switched off. And that told me these small things tell you that he really meant something, you know, and he really enjoyed
But you
what
could
he
sense
saw.
that in that chat that he had with you.
Yeah.
So for me, these are the small signs, and I think somewhere I felt very proud of the work put in by the whole team in the adaptation. That something that we did, not worrying about how the rest of the world will react to, still resonated, and in such a nice way with somebody who's gonna be so, I would say, gonna be so difficult to please with something which they already have a set idea about.
Yeah. Adi, was that important for you to have that sort of nod, to have that sort of pat from
absolutely.
the guy who did it the first time around?
I was like, I'm done. Like that's I'm good now, you know, because he laid out such a brilliant blueprint for me, and I'm such a fan of his work. Great actor, and for him to kind of feel like I think he genuinely did feel like he enjoyed the show, and all of them enjoyed the show, and I think he had some really nice things to say about kind of stuff that I had done with it. I think like Sandeep said earlier, one of the things he said that he felt great about was that I kind of did stay true to certain moments.
Right.
Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You don't want to reinvent the wheel.
It's true. Unless you have to.
Yeah. And but having said that, I got so much new stuff from the script that just by virtue of those changes, I had to play it different in certain ways. No, but that call was a special one.
Okay.
Was a special one.
You know, Anil, in this set of episodes that comes out now, we see Shelley's sort of cool, cucumber cool demeanor crack. I don't want to give away too much for those that wouldn't have watched it yet, but there is that scene in the car with GV where we really see his ruthless side. There is, at the end, his desperation that we see when he's negotiating with Shan. For you, Anil, could you empathize with Shelley, or was he always this suited, booted monster?
No, I did. You know, like for me, empathy for a character is very, very important. Whatever I play, whichever character I play. So, no matter, there are a few things which I feel whenever I've taken up any role, the filmmaker and the writer have a certain way of looking at it. But I see to it that there is this part of it should always be there. The empathy part should be there. People should, what is the reason why he is like that?
Yeah.
There has to be a strong reason for it. You know, if whatever he's doing, if he's evil, what is the reason? What is the backstory for it? Why? So these are the backstories I really work on, and that really helps me get to humanize and to get the soul. I do my best to do that. And of course, I feel to a certain extent, no matter what happens, slight touch of humor also has to be there in life. You know, I don't like very dry roles and dry films.
Likey, this is Arabia, and I'm the Lawrence of Arabia. That's my line. That's my favorite line.
So, you know, these small things, you know, and when I was doing with Zoya also, I said, Anil, what are you doing? I said, Zoya, trust me.
You need a little bit of,
just let me do it. Let me do it. You know, let me do it. Don't worry. I'm not going to make this film.
A caricature,
I'm not going to change your story. So, let me do it. You know, there are certain times I do with every filmmaker I've worked with. I do my best, and of course I listen to him. But I try it out, and when they see it, they say, okay, fine, this is correct.
Right.
So this has happened with a lot of my filmmakers. So which I've learned from my, actors who have done such great work, filmmakers I've worked with in the past. with how they would, build those characters. Like I worked with Bapu Saab, I worked with K. Vishwanath, I worked with Shekhar, I worked with Danny Boyle. These are the filmmakers I worked, and even including Brad Bird I worked. He's basically an animation. He's done only animation films, and that was his first film which he did. So there's so many things I can just name. So many of the great and good filmmakers, N. Chandra, Vinod Chopra, writer Salim Javed Saab, and actors like Nasir, watched so many of my Kamala Hassan films, So, I've learned from them, Nasir, so many of the films, and Bachchan Saab, Dilip Kumar the great. I've done 3 films with Dilip Kumar. So much you learn from them.
Right.
So I've been fortunate that I could see their work, and and try to be a little bit myself.
But Sandeep, does he walk on the set like a veteran? Does he walk on the set with all of those years of experience?
No, I think that he wears that very lightly.
Okay.
I think the idea is to not intimidate, unless he needs to for the scene. Then of course, then he really enjoys it.
There's a lot of that in this bunch of episodes.
Yeah. No, but I think the idea, like Sir says, he looks at it like it's a team effort, and he's always looking for the scene to work. And in that sense, you need for the other actors to not feel intimidated.
Sure.
And I think Sir goes out of his way to make.
But you've already worked with him before.
Yeah, in that sense,
that really helped both of us also.
Really.
Because I think it just makes a lot of difference. I was just talking to him also. There are times I feel, filmmakers and actors sometimes, for the sake of not working with that person, they don't work with that person, which is stupid, I feel. I think it's very, very stupid. There's something which is working. Why shouldn't you? I've done 12 to 13 films with Jackie. I've done 13 films with Madhuri. I've done so many films with Subhash Ghai, with Yash Chopra, with Vinod, and Shekhar. I've done so many of their works. Obviously, if I don't shoot or they don't, I feel that I'm not comfortable doing something which it is okay. But I feel it's good to work with people whom you really worked with, and so it's fun. So with me and Adi, this is our second collaboration together, and it's been, and both have been successful. This first has already been, and hopefully second.
The second we've
hopefully
looking good.
Looking good.
Adi, is this the most stoic character you've played? He's not a man of many words.
Right.
He's really knotted up. He's got pain.
Right.
You've played intense before.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen you play something so internalized before. Fair to say?
I think so. I think he has to be internalized as a guy because he's a complicated guy, but also because he can't really let out what he's feeling, and he has to kind of hide everything from the people, the surroundings he's in. And I was just saying that was a kind of a tightrope that we had to walk as to what to reveal and what not to reveal.
Right.
Because you want the audience to at some point kind of get lost in the fact that he's not playing them. So it was a tricky one. How expressive do we want him to be? But yeah, I felt like I still had a lot that felt like needed to be going on within, like inside. Then that machine needs to keep churning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think once you find that, it became kind of joyful to have all this stuff going on and hopefully kind of revealing and not revealing, the right amounts. But yeah, I think I've played stoic before, but not to this extent.
I feel like the only time you really see him in the way that he wants to be, and I'm not going to give away too much, is that last shot. And I love the camera sort of pulling back on him, and him sort of closing his eyes and kind of being the person that he maybe truly is. Yeah, that's true. That's the only time that you see him without all the rest of those things on his shoulders. Right. Where he can finally. And it's interesting because you also kind of shave him for that. Yeah. So that was more a logistical date clash. No. I think that was his vision.
But
it works. It works.
No, I think sometimes these things really work. That that times you're there with a beard and people also want to see you, fresh, looking fresh. Dadi wadi both ho gaya.
It only works in this scene
because it takes you back to that first.
No, otherwise also. I'm talking mainly from pure audience point of view.
कि दाढ़ी वाड़ी
बहुत हो गया यार अभी. चल अभी अपनी असली शक्ल दिखाया. हीरो है पिक्चर का.
हाँ, हीरो है.
विलेन नहीं है मेरे जैसा.
I think it's your most restrained performance. Anil, you said, I saw an interview that you did when you were promoting the show in February. You said that this is a show that's going to change Aditya's life.
Yeah.
I do feel, Aditya, like it's people are seeing you very differently since this show came out. Do you agree to that? Do you feel that? Do you sense that?
Well, I sense that because it's been so appreciated, and
Yeah.
I think by virtue of that, I think the performances have been. I think I got a chance to play a character this well written. I think with yeah, I think it was a great opportunity for me, and I think that it's been well received. Yeah, at some level, but I think one of the things is I guess I haven't gotten a chance to play something with this tone before.
That's right.
I think theatrically I haven't gotten a chance to explore something that's just kind of just flown off the tongue so easily and something that's kind of lined up with my personality in the way that this has. So maybe, yeah, I can't gauge it as well as maybe the people
See,
around
Rajeev,
me,
I
you
feel,
know?
sorry to butt in, I feel it's very, very, you have, getting, as I said, constantly, it's a teamwork.
Yeah.
Getting the right actors
You're right.
with you.
Correct.
And the right co-actors, right filmmaker, right writer, right platform.
Correct.
And for example, when the platform came to me, and Disney Hotstar, Mr. Gaurav Saab, when he came to me, and then he mentioned that Sandeep is going to
Do it, yeah.
direct it, and then from Sandeep, then the writers, then the other actors, and all of us put together. I think you have to just pray to God that that all the entire
All the parts
jigsaw
come together, yeah.
part comes together.
Yeah.
Sometimes you yourself are doing the best, but if everything doesn't come together, it just falls apart.
Nothing
Yeah.
you can do, yeah.
So you just have to,
Hope
hope
yeah.
that everything comes together.
Correct.
And sometimes you have to fight for the right person to be there.
Right.
I said, ठीक है, कुछ बोलते हैं यार बहुत पैसे मांग रहा है, मतलब दे दो यार उसको पैसे दे दो
He'll
ज़्यादा.
bring value. Yeah.
But this is a question a lot of people have been asking me.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't you feel people are looking at you differently now? And I genuinely,
Yeah.
I can't make
You're
out.
right.
But then,
Maybe
obviously,
it's-
because everyone's asking me, maybe they are.
They are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
A beautiful anecdote I remember now about when you observe the shift. This was our first day of shoot. AK sir had not joined shoot yet, and we shot, I think, 50% of the day.
Right.
At lunch, I met your team, your makeup team, the hair team. They said, "Sir, it's looking different."
Right.
I said, "Thank you. I didn't know how to read. This is
Yeah.
his first day, and
Yeah.
you of course spent a month in workshops,
Sure.
and we've done so much together, but the fact that the team just was so close to him,
Right.
could feel
Could
a
see it,
shift
yeah.
in the way it was being played out,
Yeah.
by him in this one, was beautiful. So
Yeah.
I held that very close to me, that okay, these guys and the opinion really matters, because they
Right.
are the ones who are observing him, and their interest is, while they care about the show, but they care
course.
about him the
It's very
most,
selfish.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sandeep, I want to take off from what Adi said earlier. Why fix what's not broken? Some of the feedback that was there when the first set of episodes came out is that it's very faithful to the original show, and I don't think people meant that in a bad way. Really, why fix what's not broken? It's nice that even in this lot of episodes there are some sort of hat tips to the original show. I mean, even the sex scene is shot standing up against the wall. I want to ask you how when you and Sridhar were adapting the show, how did you decide what to keep, what not to keep? Of course, in this set of episodes, we also see the geopolitics of the Southeast Asia plane, which is very different from that of Europe. But how do you decide what's worth sticking to and what needs to change?
So there were actually two logical routes. One was we decided what are the things that we like, what we dislike. Now, of course, we realized that things that I disliked was loved by so many.
Right.
So I said, okay, damn, we'll have to now figure out how do we maintain the balance between the two. But the key part was key decisions to take on characters right at the start. The geopolitics. Once you decide who Kaveri is,
Correct.
then you have to find out how do you map her journey, and
Yeah.
naturally some movements will not land.
Yeah.
The fact that it was set in Asia. So I think answers came once we based them out of somewhere, like Shan's past, and the fact that we created a hero who's bothered by his past in such a deep way.
Yeah.
We had to find a way when it all comes back. So a lot of these calls happened naturally. Once we had our opening episode, which, if I remember right, I think Sridhar wrote 18 times.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. That's how you get it so good. You do it over and over again.
We just kept writing, and there were so many iterations. But once we knew that, we just then followed the characters rather than allow the plot to dictate.
Right. Anil, you've done long form storytelling in the past. You did 24. That was for television, and this is of course for streaming. I mean, do you see an intrinsic change in the way that storytelling has sort of evolved?
Obviously, 24 was for broadcast, but in a way it was exactly the way streaming is done.
Form, yeah.
Long form. And of course, immediately it was because Woot had just started,
Yeah.
At least for the second season. So we were streaming and we were broadcasting it simultaneously. So I was in a way, and so it is almost the same because I remember the audiences also which saw 24 would record it. Because they would record it and then watch it. It was not one of those that people were, sitting in the kitchen to watch it.
Right.
It was not that
It was not
audience.
appointment viewing.
Yeah, it was not appointment viewing. So they wanted to watch it because if they missed out something, they would miss out.
Right.
Something. So in a way, I was quite, so I didn't find anything really drastically different from what I felt. But the first time when I did 24, when I shot in LA, that was my first really the experience of storytelling and the long form and the seasons and the hours of work and the scripts coming, the blue draft, the green draft, the red draft, and and then even if one word is changed, they would apologize to you 10 times.
Wow. Okay.
We're so sorry that we have changed a few lines,
You're
over
not
there.
used to that in the movie business.
No, here when the camera's on, they change the dialogue. I have gone through that,
Okay, you're now hitting me under the belt.
No, not you.
Not you at all.
Not you at all.
No, we really enjoyed also a lot of
So
lot of things happened there.
I just feel, and of course, that whole experience of me doing a lot of adaptations earlier also, besides 24, was adapting Telugu films and Malayalam films and Tamil films. So we, to certain extent, we would adapt it to the ethos and the culture of this part of the world.
Right.
But not seeing to it that the soul is still the same, and there are certain ins and outs which are very important. You can't just miss out.
Yeah.
You are doing it legally. You're not stealing it.
Right.
आप चोरी थोड़ी कर रहे हैं.
Correct.
आपने पैसे दिए हैं.
Correct.
You bought the rights and you paid a lot of money.
Correct.
So why are you apologetic about it?
Right.
You should not be apologetic about it,
Correct.
and you should not change for the sake of
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
Sake of changing. So there were times, both in this and that, where there were certain changes where I would just freak out. I said, I would just freak out. I said, please. I said, get that. So suddenly I got the international script, not the film. I said, get me the script, which is the first script written.
Right.
Let me go through that also. So I used to sit with the Tamil, the Malayalam, the Telugu, the Hindi, sit down over there. I said, I hope you're not missing out.
Don't miss the gold.
The gold, and sometimes you just miss out on the gold.
Yeah.
So it's very, very important. And this is a different, and it's not an easy job. Matter of fact, sometimes it's easier to do an original.
Original. Right.
You go completely extempore and you create, and then on the edit, you make the film, to a certain extent.
You're not bound by
You're bound by it. Yeah, it's not a very,
templates,
everybody cannot do it. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Otherwise everybody would make adaptations.
Yeah.
Like for example, even when Martin Scorsese did Departed,
right.
it's based on a successful
Korean
Chinese film, Chinese, right? Or Hong Kong?
Hong Kong, you're right.
Hong Kong,
Infernal Affairs.
Infernal Affairs. But that was his adaptation. It was brilliantly done. But I'm sure there was a lot of things which were there. It's already there. So why shy away from it?
Correct.
And if you see the adaptation when they go and they do give, give
Oscar for
they give the credit.
adapted
This is
screenplay.
thanks to them.
Correct.
Thanks to the biopic, the
original-
individual character,
Right.
the individual person whom we have inspired to make the film, including the King George or whatever the film, King Richards.
Right.
The stories are there, but how you adapt it, how you
Is an
do
art.
it,
That's
it's
a
an
story,
art.
yeah.
It's not so easy. So you have to be very, very, careful. Like 2 scenes which you have praised are not there in the original. At the
Right.
moment you mentioned.
Yes.
One is the one which is the car scene.
Car scene, yeah.
It's not there in the original.
Correct.
The other is the one where we both
Standoff.
the standoff,
Yeah.
which is not there in the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I said let's
The Shelly versus Shan standoff.
standoff. And we both were very scared. It's not there in the original. I hope we don't
Mess it up,
spoil the rhythm of the show.
Yeah, I was sure.
Huh?
Yeah, I was sure. I felt like it was scene.
Oh, for you,
But
no?
no. Oh, that
The
way.
problem was for me.
Oh yeah, you were feeling that?
Yeah, because I was speaking all the lines.
I didn't have to remember anything. Yeah, that was the relaxed day on set
हाँ,
for
set,
me.
हाँ,
एक ही
You are
बोलना है.
the hero का ये
That's what I
advantage है
सुन
ना.
रहा हूँ. Expression.
एंड में आके हीरो टाइप एक लाइन. बर्बाद तो मैं हो रहा था.
But both of them are hawks when it comes to these scripts and the gold. While AK is about what's in the adaptation, what are we changing. Adi is about draft 1 to 18.
Wow.
I think we call it the gold chest, which is
Right.
his iPad. And every time we are worried about have we missed something.
Oh, he's
Adi,
got every draft
we
saved.
call him.
I've
So
got
he
it
says,
all there.
he'll flap it open. He'll get his thing. He's like, okay, I think in draft 16, there's this line here which I think Sandeep has a better rhythm. You think? So, but you can even go to 14. So he was
मैं
actually
भी कम
the,
नहीं.
I've
Well,
worked with
learning from the
actors
best.
where उनका बाल भी होता लिखे ले रहे. मेरा बाल ऐसा था.
उतना नहीं.
है.
अच्छा, मैं नहीं करता.
Don't worry. But it's good, yeah. Why not?
It's good.
Why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Attention
Each
to
his
detail.
own, yeah. You have to have that badness.
You know, I have to end by asking the obvious question about whether, I mean, the original British show was planned as a mini series, as a limited series, and I believe now there's some talk of a season 2 of The Night Manager happening. It's also left, can we say it? It's also left sort of beautifully open in a way that we can have these characters back. I love what they do with your character. It's just incredible. Would you be open to revisiting the story, the characters, and perhaps a new landscape to fit them into? All of you, actually, would you be open?
Yeah,
I mean, is there talk?
I'm going to start with Adi this
Okay.
time.
I mean, for me, it's a flat yes.
Okay.
Because it's been such a great experience working on the show with the team and the character itself that I think for me it would be wonderful to step back into this if we can obviously do something that's as compelling.
Yeah.
And I think it would be driven by that. The want to get back onto the field together is obviously there, but yeah, I think you would have to be compelled by the story and it all falling into place the same way. Yeah.
Anil, will you bring Shelly back?
There are a lot of characters I want to get back. You know, I can start from, I don't know, from the time I started my career. And there are a lot of characters. There are so many things involved in it, you know. It's, you know, there are economics involved.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think as creative, you know, as actors and he as a filmmaker and as a director, as a writer, we are always open.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we say,
Of course.
I think it'll be great to do it again. I think the decision is not ours.
Yeah.
It's not ours, it's their decision. We cannot decide it because you see what happens, we are basically not business people.
Right.
We are very, very naive, innocent.
Yeah.
I can say that, all of us.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we don't know what goes behind and we're not interested also.
Okay.
We're interested in our work.
Right.
At least I can say that about him,
Yeah.
I can say that of him, and I can say that of myself. Whatever I know in the short span, which I know them. हमको को अच्छा काम मिलेगा, अच्छा रोल मिलेगा, अच्छी
Why
फिल्म
won't you?
मिलेगी और ये अगर जो already successful है, why should we say no?
Yeah.
But they have to decide.
Sure.
We are nobody to decide. There's so many of the films of mine which are just lying there.
Yeah.
With so many complications are there.
Sure.
You know, from the time they've started, that they're not happening. What to do? 24 is not happening. Everybody's looking forward to the third season. But there are certain things, it doesn't happen. So we don't take decisions.
Right.
You know, unless I become a big tycoon and then I
Like Shelley.
run
Yeah, yeah.
like Shelley and
Right.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Sandeep?
It is compelling, of course, when something is successful and you are, of course, keen to go back on the journey, but also same time also equally scary. I don't know whether
Nothing is scary.
we'll be thinking in our heads we are wanting the same journey again, and you know it's not going to be the same ever again.
Correct.
You know? So I would say depends on the circumstances and how it comes through. But yes, these characters are ripe for definitely taking it ahead.
Renewal,
and
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I have to say, I really enjoyed it. When I watched this set of episodes, I kept thinking, I mean, the first bunch was so good. There has to be something wrong with this one, right? I mean, like I was waiting for the penny to drop. And it wasn't. You just made a really good show. Well done. It was so much fun. Of course, all episodes of Night Manager are going to be streaming on Disney Plus Hotstar from the 30th of June. But I had a great time watching it. And thank you so much for chatting with me. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rajeev.
Rajeev.
Thank you, Rajeev.
Thank you.